Hey everyone, sun's going down. Gotta get back in time. Make sure you're nice and calm for this edition of the Rich Cast, or I'd Rather Be Rich podcast.
Hey man, we're about to do a review of Thor. Want to come with?
So, Thor Ragnarok, we saw it this past weekend all
Last
together.
Friday night, we saw Thor Ragnarok.
It's the first time we've all seen a movie together and then reviewed it, so that's fun.
Yeah.
I used MoviePass for the first time. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It gave me an excuse to spend just as much money on concessions. I will take it.
Nice.
So I think none of our... this might not be the most interesting discussion, because I think all of our opinions are pretty similar.
Yeah, none of us were super against the movie.
One, it was easily the best Thor movie.
By far.
Yes.
I don't even remember the other two Thor
Exactly.
That's how good this one was.
Perhaps the best...
Well, I remember some of the first one, but that's about it.
Perhaps the best Marvel movie of the year. I still prefer Spider-Man just because I love the Spider-Man character. It's my favorite superhero.
I'm not attached to any Marvel character, but it's a toss-up between this and Spider-Man.
I still love Michael Keaton's Vulture, man.
Yeah. I think this is a more well-rounded in the way...
This was funnier.
They built everything... Really? I thought Spider-Man was funny.
I thought this was funnier.
But just the way, I mean, the special effects and the science fiction world building, and they worked in different characters. The Hulk, you know...
A lot of people are complaining because they're like, this is a Planet Cult movie, which I don't know anything about.
Why are you complaining about that?
Yeah, I'm not, but...
They worked in a lot of stuff with this one, but everything they tried to squeeze in, they did a good job. It was all in-depth enough to have it make sense, in my opinion.
Nothing was out of place. I don't know. I mean, it kicked off really strong, you know, right in the action scene. It was a lot more humorous than the previous incarnations of Thor.
Yeah, my main thing with this one right now, too, it's the least forgettable Thor movie by a mile.
By far, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say this is like... I mean, the other Thors, for me at least, were like lowest of the low in terms of MCU. I think this is right up there with...
It's with Guardians.
Like right below Guardians for me. I would say probably my other favorite, I would say it's equal to Civil War, Winter Soldier. There's really not that many Marvel movies I can name that I liked more than this movie.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, definitely better than Age of Ultron. I didn't like Age of Ultron that much.
I didn't mind it. Like, I don't have anything against any Marvel movie, maybe? Maybe because I have only seen
I can
half
agree
of them,
with that,
but...
because I go fanboy for all the movies. They're usually fun. They're fun enough to
I'm
where I
not
don't hate them.
fanboy, but I'm like... I have nothing against them. I also haven't seen maybe 3 or 4 of the bigger ones.
Right.
Like the first Avengers, I would rate higher just because...
It's the first time everyone gets together.
Yeah, it was new. I mean... Marvel, honestly,
it was like
with the MCU. They did. It was very unique.
Wait a second.
Captain America kind of started
it was the first
off,
culmination of everyone.
So I was about to bring up some of the cool Easter eggs in here, and I just read something that just blew my mind. You know, in the beginning of the story, how they had the stage play.
Yeah.
Did you know who Loki was? It was Matt Damon.
Yeah. I thought it was.
Yeah, it was Matt Damon. I didn't even know that.
I didn't even think
I didn't
of that.
recognize them.
That was Matt Damon. I got the guess that the Thor in there was actually Luke Hemsworth, who was Chris's brother. I did not know that was Matt Damon.
The least important of the Hemsworths.
Yeah.
How many of them are
I didn't realize that was Matt Damon. That's like Daniel Craig popping up in Star Wars level cameo.
Yeah, I know, right?
Except this one's even more obvious because you can actually see his face.
But yeah, we still didn't notice.
Like, I had no idea. I did not go into that movie expecting, I gotta keep an eye out for Matt Damon.
Yeah, well, I wasn't like, that's definitely... I remember thinking, that guy looks kind of like Matt Damon, but it was so quick, like, I didn't get a...
Yeah,
I didn't even really...
put it
I
together
probably
now.
wasn't paying attention.
But I thought it was just an actor that looked like Matt Damon.
I went back and I looked at during the movie there is the Grandmaster's Tower of Pimps or whatever, where he's got like all of his heroes that he's done there, and on the faces are a bunch of really cool heroes on there. On his Contest of Champions there, not only does he have Hulk, he has Beta Ray Bill, who's a really cool Thor character. He's got the Bi-Beast, who is another really big Thor villain and Hulk villain back in the day. Also has Ares, God of War, originally from that point. So that's very interesting because they could do a lot with that. Hercules is a mainstay in the Marvel Universe. So they could bring some stuff with that in. So that was interesting, I thought.
What about the 5th face?
I'm trying to find that out right now. But I don't have...
Didn't you mention there was a 5th one?
I thought... Oh, who did I say the 5th one was?
Like the person that's
something
to
do with Infinity Stones.
Yeah. Oh, it's something to do with Infinity Stones.
Some big.
He's
purple,
the giant
bluish.
purple.
Oh yeah. Thanos.
And he's not Barney.
Yeah, Thanos is on there itself. So
cool. Any other cool Easter eggs you want to point out? Because I know you are very connected.
well, let's go into They did not make Jeff Goldblum blue, but they did give him some of the other interesting features. They did mention, I think they did mention, Valkyrie mentions at some point when they're trying to get back to the Asgard, they do mention that the closest portal is on Xandar with the Nova Corps, so I thought that was something that was pretty interesting.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Nova was in Guardians in the Galaxy.
Which part?
When Ronan is attacking the city and the Nova Corps is protecting it with all their ships.
Okay.
So that's the Nova Corps.
Because I haven't seen the second one.
The Grandmasters thing is named the Contest of Champions, which is now a mobile game, actually. But originally was a big storyline that he did where he would basically take over. It was originally a bargain against the collectors that went on. The Revengers are... the Revengers, when he mentions that's their team name, is originally the name for the Avengers that happened in a alternate universe called the Cancerverse, where everything grows forever and no one really dies and cannot die. That Thanos has ended up entrapped in a couple of different times, so that was something interesting as well. They mentioned Thor being transformed into a frog. There is actually a frog called Throg that happens, where Thor was a frog for a little bit. Then they also gave a frog a tiny version of Mjolnir, and there was a frog Thor for a little bit.
That's
so
cool.
I thought that was something interesting. Thor's love of snakes that is referenced in there. Where they said, he turned into a snake, surprise, and then he stabbed me. Thor does traditionally love snakes. He fights snakes 6 times in the original opening in Journey into Mystery. In the first 8 issues, he fights giant snakes 6 times. They did Scourge's Last Stand, the Executioner's Last Stand, the exact same way it happens in the comics, what I love, where he's just firing the machine guns.
And it's by Carl Urban.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
It was great.
And again, personal favorite.
An underrated actor.
Yeah. Hela knowing what the Infinity Gauntlet is and just saying fake was just hilarious, also, by the way. One last thing that we could maybe see, and I just thought it'd be interesting to bring up. In the movie, we clearly see that the Hulk gets bitten by Fenrir at the giant wolf at some point. I should note that in the original Marvel comics, he fights a character by the name of Manwolf and gets bitten and scratched multiple times. And during the next full moon, he turns into the Grey Hulk, which is traditional the 1920s gangster Hulk that talks in, forget about it and all that stuff.
Man,
yeah, pretty much. And he's also a lot smarter. So I'm wondering if they will do a Grey Hulk movie or a multiple personality Hulk movie.
That'd be cool.
Which is interesting.
But
I think that's everything that
on the movie's note, I thought the performances were good. I thought Tessa Thompson's performance as the Valkyrie was good.
I think, was her name Angela? I'm not sure.
They didn't really say it.
I thought it was like they called her like the Scrapper 142 or something like that.
Yeah, she was Scrapper 142, but
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. What a performance!
Oh
by
wow,
her.
that was really, really good.
That was a. I love how they bring these non-traditional, I guess, superhero actors for these big roles, and they just most of the time knock it out of the park. Like bringing in like Age of Ultron, James Spader,
all of that
Ultron.
kind of flies under the radar until the
Kate
movie,
Blanchett
and then it's like, oh my god,
Helga. I mean, it's amazing that they get these non-traditional actors to do these crazy roles, and they're just amazing.
Oh, actually, while I'm at it here, there are a couple more Easter eggs that I missed that I put under the radar. There's apparently another face on the tower, the Man-Thing, which is originally another Marvel character that we might see. Scrapper 142 is a reference to the Incredible Hulk 142, where he fights Valkyrie. So there's another one for you as well. So that's kind of interesting as well.
But I thought overall the movie was great.
I don't really have like bad things to say about it right now.
Fun,
it was fun. I was engaged the entire time. I was into it.
Marvel movie. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and again, this was another one there where they did the humor tastefully. They worked it in at points
the jokes
where it
worked with what was going on,
and it wasn't over the top. With
and
the
apparently
humor.
there was just a ton of New Zealand stuff that we missed. Get this. Do you remember the point where Korg is offering him just some various weapons? Oh, I got this this giant wooden fork, which I guess wouldn't be very helpful against the bunch of vampires that were grouped up together. That is actually in reference to another movie by the same thing, What We Do in the Shadows. That's a What We Do in the Shadows reference where a bunch of vampires die by, you guessed it, getting stabbed by a giant wooden fork. I can't believe I missed that one that first time around.
Well,
We talked about that last time, too.
you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you guys? So we all really liked it.
Do we want to give a score?
Yeah, we can give it a score. But before we do that, is there anything that you guys didn't like? Just any criticisms at all? Because unless it's a 10, there must be some criticism.
I thought they stayed on the planet too long. The trash planet. I felt like they stayed on there. It felt like it was almost the whole movie. And they really didn't talk about the Ragnarok part of it that often. It didn't feel like it was part of the
guess
movie.
that's the one thing. I guess they could have done a little more with Surtur.
Honestly, if the beginning didn't have Ragnarok mentioned in it, I probably wouldn't have noticed that it was a Ragnarok movie, that it was titled Thor Ragnarok.
I didn't like how Mjolnir got destroyed.
I'm sure they'll bring it back. Either Stark will make him a new one, or he'll make one himself.
But it was hella super OP at that point.
Yeah.
And then Thor's awakening via dad dying.
I will say that Hela being so OP that I will say that the only thing that can end Hela is basically the destruction of Asgard itself. I mean, it was awesome, but I mean, I would have liked to see her take at least a little damage. Thor lost an eye, for God's sake.
That one action scene where she just takes out 200 of the guards is a really cool action scene.
Also, shout out to my man Idris Elba for yet again another fantastic performance.
The very
needed more of him.
underused.
Yeah. That's my
the
criticism.
very underused.
Heimdall.
Needed more of Heimdall.
Idris Elba.
Yeah. Well, I think I would say that because they spent so much time on Sakaar, that you didn't get to see a lot of Idris Elba, and I liked Idris Elba through.
I didn't even know he was going to be in the movie, so I guess that's some benefit.
Yeah, I guess that's one of my criticisms too, is how long it took Hulk to come around.
Yeah.
I know it's Hulk and not Banner, but they did the whole Avengers thing together. Yeah. And when he goes, hey, I know him, he's a friend from work, I expected Hulk to not require that much of a beating to be able for him to get through to him at that point.
Yeah, I think they just wanted a cool
The whole
scene.
Loki's
Loki's
reactions during that fight, though, more than make up for it.
Oh my
yes!
God. Tom Hiddleston.
This is how it feels.
I will say, I am surprised that Tom Hiddleston was actually a full cast member.
I'm very glad he was, and I think they did him very well as that kind of role rather than having Loki try and be a main villain.
Well, I thought he was just going to be in the beginning and then maybe come in the end and just do a couple cameos.
Loki sucks as a villain, in the first one, and in Avengers, but as the supporting,
asshole,
mischievous asshole brother, just there to mess up Thor's day.
As a worse Robert, as a worse Iron Man type of.
Well, here's the thing.
Guy.
Here's the thing. Loki is just not a good. I want to go beat this guy up villain.
Yeah.
That's why he does such a good job in Avengers up until he runs into the Hulk. And then the Hulk punches him about 3 times. And
they did the same thing.
puny guy. It's the exact same thing, by the way. Picks him up by the ankles and hits him around. But it's like, I agree. I think Loki is so much better when he does the behind the shadows stuff. And
that's what he is. He's the god of mischief.
Yep.
So I'm wondering what he's going to do with Thanos coming up. He's going
boy.
to try to pull any shenanigans.
It'll probably.
Well, he's got the Tesseract. He's got the Cosmic Cube again.
Supposedly.
It was heavily implied that he's got the Cosmic Cube.
He definitely has it.
Well, he has to
have it.
Otherwise, Infinity Wars doesn't make sense. I have come for the Infinity Stones. Well, the giant fire demon kind of shattered the one, so I guess you're shit out of luck.
All right. Well.
Damn.
What are you guys' scores?
I will go 9 out of 10 because the enough stuff. It took me a lot of stuff to accumulate the 1 point that I'd have to take off. And it was all minor things that I think didn't matter too much in the end. So I'll go 9 out of 10.
I'll give it a 9 too. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was just a fun movie. I was entertained the entire time. There was never a point where I thought, wow, this is stupid. And again, because of my criticisms that I really had to come up with, because I don't want to give anything a 10 out of 10 unless I'm super on board and thinking it's deserving, I will give it the 9. I think it was great. I recommend it highly.
I'd give it an 8. I thought the movie was good, but there was some plot holes, like the whole Ragnarok thing. I thought some of it was not paced great, but overall, I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 for overall movie, but in terms of the MCU, I'd give it a 9. Yeah, it was super enjoyable. It was a ton of fun. I think it maybe was overcompensating in terms of comedy, like because nobody really liked the other Thors and they weren't funny. This one was like, look, we're funny now, and like really wanted you to get that. Like
thinking back on it, I can't think of a single funny movie. No, I can think of one funny moment in Thor: Dark World, and that's when Loki turns himself into Steve Rogers for 10 seconds. Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
I appreciated the comedy, and a lot of it just felt like they were trying a little. Like it was at like if it was at it
was too much on the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was at like a 9, just like ramp it down, like bring it down to a 7 or something. Like especially because they right off the bat when he's chained up swinging, they do that gag like it's like twice in a row.
I guess that's a good criticism.
Yeah.
The whole him spinning around on the chain.
Yeah.
Whole
well, he did it funny.
They did it twice as fine. They did it 4 times, I think.
It was like
I could have done it once.
Yeah, like once.
And we got the comedy out of that with the initial, well, I'm stuck here.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of
You're probably wondering how I got here.
Marvel or Guardians says this a lot too, where like the joke is that it's a serious situation and then something happens and they make it funny. Like in the latest Guardians where Mantis got hit in the face, they were all like going like this and then she gets hit in the face. I thought that was really stupid.
Yeah, or like the first one with Taserface.
Yeah.
Well, I like Taserface.
I do too. I liked that bit a lot, but
Okay,
it was another example of serious situation and
right. I mean more like they were rolling out the red carpet and it gets snagged. Like they did that a lot in Guardians. That's a lot of the humor.
I will say the most underrated the underrated funny moment from with this one is they finally played on the gag of Bruce Banner jumping out of high places and then transforming to the Hulk when he hits the ground, and then just seeing it bounce off the bridge. That was hilarious. I knew what was coming after, but just to see it was like, finally. Because they, again, in the original Hulk, they throw him off the thing. It happens like 3 times in a couple of Avengers movies. This one, boink!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, that is our review of Thor Ragnarok. If you haven't seen it, it's a great time at the movies.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to bump up my score to 11 out of 10. Because I'll give it 1 point each for each time it played Immigrant Song.
That's not allowed.
Which was twice.
Yeah, that was great.
That's not allowed. You gave it a 9.
Shut up, Rich. I know that your name's on the podcast, but damn it, I want to do something.
And I noticed there was like an instrumental version of it too, peppered in with the
Yeah,
score.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, every time Immigrant Song came on, I just lit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just a trailer thing, like Justice League has doing Come Together.
Yeah. Well, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, this is where they use Immigrant Song. Then they played during the climax, I'm like, yes!
Yep, this is literally perfect.
It just makes so much sense to be the Thor theme song. Like,
And now they're immigrants because they did have strong foundations. They had great, strong foundations.
all right, we'll see you for
Next
time.
See you for Justice League, probably.
Yeah,
Or
probably.
something else.
We've been literally podcasting for 30 minutes!
Yeah!
Yeah! That was a Thor joke that I made at the end.